Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of a Swift Champagne 664. So starting the walk round on the driver's side of the vehicle first, the first point you get to is your freshwater fill-up point. So if you're going wild camping, you'll need to take your fresh water with you, but normally when you arrive on site, you'll unlock your cap, as it's a lockable cap with a habitation key. So when it spins, it's locked. When you're able to grip it like I just have, it's open. So go and buy yourself a hose pipe with some hose pipe connections, as it's mainly just a brass tap on site. Pop your flat end of your hose in here, connect your other end of your hose to the brass tap on site and fill it with fresh water. Wait until it either overflows or until you're happy there's enough water on board, which you can see on the control panel. If you can't get a hose pipe to the vehicle, but you can get a bucket of water or an aqua roll or a drum of water in a container, basically what you can do is, there's a little pump here. So this is a 12-volt point. Pop the pins in there, pop the other end of the hose on the pump into here, and drop the pump into the barrel of water. It'll suck the water out the drum and it'll put it into the van. Then when you're finished with your fresh water, so you've taken on contaminated water, you're just not using the van for a couple of weeks, so you don't need to leave water in it, or you've drained down for the winter, the fresh water is going to come out here. And to do that, it's all through the control panel. So when you go into your water, which I'll show you inside, you can press empty fresh and empty waste. This one's your fresh. You've got your two fridge vents. You've got your external shower. So there's a fitting that pushes into there. On the other end of the hose is a trigger gun. As long as the pump's on, you've got a cold water shower. So you may want to hose the dogs off when they've been on the beach, yourselves, your bikes, your boots. You can do it all from outside, but it is just cold water. And then underneath here, this is your waste. So again, through the control panel, you can empty that. And normally on the way out of your site, you want to drive over the grid or get as close as to it, and open the valve and allow the dirty water out. So this is dishes water, hand basin water, shower water, or anything that you've drained off via those plug holes. Make sure that this is fully drained off in the winter, and there's no real reason why you should be driving around with waste water unless you're wild camping, because it's going to add extra weight to the van, reduce your payload and reduce your consumption on fuel. So get rid of that on the way out of your site. Using the habitation key, you can open this lock, and this is your cassette toilet. So to use the cassette, when emptying it, what you want to do is you want to get your hand under the orange handle, lift it up and slide the cassette out. You can carry it, you can drag it to your waste disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block. Take the grey cap off and press the button. Press the button in, allows a bit of air in, stops it glugging, and allows it all to tip out. Tip the content of the cassette out. Once you've done that, there's normally a tap. Put some water in here and give it a rinse. Tip out again. Then go in with a cap full of the chemical, which is 4 ounces or 120 ml of either the green or the blue chemical, in the cassette with a little bit of water in. It'll all break down into the liquid, so you can either just put the liquid in, then put a bit of water in by flushing the toilet, or you can put a bit of water and the liquid in together. Pop that in there and then slide it back into the motorhome. If the blade was to be in the open position, the cassette won't come out, but I'll go through that when inside the motorhome. On the back of the vehicle, you can see that you've got your high level brake light, your bullet style reversing camera above the Swift logo, and then underneath you've got Thule bars, so that's where the back panel has been strengthened to take a bike rack. Reversing sensors on the bottom. And then as we walk round to the passenger side, you've got an external 230-volt socket if you want to cook in your awning or outside the vehicle, or put power in your awning. Got storage underneath your bed, so this is just where your carpets are living at the moment. you've got an external gas point. So what it does is, the external gas point, you get a quick release connector, pop it into there. You'll want to connect that to some orange rubber gas hosing with 2 Jubilee clips, one on the quick release connector, one on the other end that you're going to connect to your Cadillac or external barbecue. Turn the yellow gas tap on, and that'll use the source of gas from the gas bottle instead of carrying another one with you. Got your flue here for your Truma boiler, so when heating the water on gas or electric, so just make sure that's always obstruction free. LPG, liquid petroleum gas, this is your gas locker, again opens with your habitation key, and in here you can fit 2 6-kilogram gas bottles. So what you need to do to connect the pigtail to the bottle is, it's a left hand thread, so opposite threads with it being gas. Hand tighten, and then you need an adjustable gas spanner or a wrench. Nip it up, but before you put the pigtail on, you'll want to put the strap round the top of the bottle, then connect it, hand tighten, nip it up, turn the bottle on, press the green button. This will go from red to go to green to show that the gas is on. And should you then have another pigtail fitted or your bottle's empty, it'll go to red. But if you've got another pigtail fitted, you can go from one bottle to another, because it's a dual control changeover valve. So you can have both bottles connected, but you will have to buy another pigtail to connect to it. Should you be struggling to get through gas, you've got one final crash valve here on the regulator. So push that in for 3 seconds and allow the gas into the motorhome. Making sure that your bottles are strapped in tightly and they're turned off before you start travelling by the top of the bottle. The door is on the central locking, so your central locking on your key, you've got your lock button in the middle, which locks all doors. Top one opens the cab only, and bottom one opens this door only. Should you want to manually get in, by all means you can use the key, but you've got no real reason to, unless you've got the spare keys, which isn't a remote key, it's just a blade key, so you will have to use this key to open that door. You've got your awning on the top there and your awning light. We can show you that on collection, how the full Omnister operates. And then to connect the van up, so say you want to hook the van up for charging or hook it up on a site. But normally, if you're lucky enough to keep this at home, a few days before, you'll want to hook the van up to charge your leisure battery. This is also a great time to put your fridge on and pre-chill it, and then the night before, load it with your shopping. So to connect it, get your hooker bleed, lift the collar, push it on. Can't be any more simple than that. Hook the motorhome up first, and then the site or the house last, and do it in reverse order so that you're never walking around with a live feed. Here you've got your diesel filler, so to fill with fuel using the Fiat Ducato key, lockable fuel cap you can fill with diesel. Tyre pressures, so 5.5 bar, which is 79.5 psi on your tyres front and back. Toolkits underneath the passenger seat, so just pull this off, twist this, and then slide this out, and this has got a jack in the brace and a torn iron. And then underneath this compartment here is your engine battery. So just turn these, get a screwdriver in and turn them, or a coin. Lift this panel off if you want to put a charger on it over the winter on solely the engine battery, or if you ever need to replenish your engine battery, that's where it comes out of. And the bonnet release, even if I put my teeth in, is on the side of the dashboard. Looking underneath the bonnet, we've got a second catch in the middle here. Lift that up. Screen wash, which is the main one you're going to need. 3 tabs here, turn them. Got power steering and coolant. Brake fluid, oil filler, oil dipstick for checking your levels every so often. paint code 506 gold and white. As the engine battery's underneath the carb floor, this is your earthing point should you ever need to give or receive a jump start, earth off here. And then between the air filter and the back of the headlight, pop your key in here or a flat-headed screwdriver and lift this cover up. And this is your positive for your red clip for giving or receiving a jump start. So now on board the vehicle, above the habitation door, you've got your main Swift control panel. So you can turn on and off by pressing the Swift logo, which is your 12 volt master switch on and off. So if you're hooked up, you'll get mains 240 volt. If you're not, you'll just get 12 volt. And here you can see that you are hooked up, so you've got your energy symbol, which means it's on mains power and it's charging the leisure battery. And you can view both battery levels there, but I'll show you how else you can view them. So starting off from the left hand side, you've got your pump. So you can turn your pump on and off should you have enough water on board, and you need to have your pump on to operate your taps, toilet, shower and external shower. So that'll pressurize the water through the system when turned on. If it isn't turned on, you'll just get whatever's left in the lines and it'll soon fade away. Next, you do have your awning light, which is the light on the outside of the motorhome. And then you've got your lights that are on the inside of the motorhome. So you've got your dimmer levels, the dimmer 1 and dimmer 2, so you can set them, change them, and you can turn them on and off. And then they all are individually switched around the vehicle. You've got power, so you can view your leisure battery reading, and you can see it's charging as it's got the charging symbol. Take the hookup out to get a true reading of your batteries, as on hookup it will give a false reading because your charger's then putting more power in. You've got your solar panel, which will go to sleep when the vehicle is hooked up, because hookup's bringing in a bigger voltage that the solar panel can't compete with. And then you've got your vehicle battery here as well. And you always want to make sure that your selected battery is your leisure. If that's ever your vehicle, change it back to your leisure, because then the motorhome is running off the van battery and not the leisure battery, which the leisure battery is designed to work the habitation area. You've got your water levels, so you can see that we've got 50% fresh water, 0 waste. And then down here you've got a few buttons. So you've got tank heaters, which you can turn on and off. So they'll put current through the water if it's potentially going to freeze overnight. You'd want to pop them on just so that the water does not freeze once the temperatures drop to sub-0 degrees overnight. The water isn't going to be frozen when you walk up. You've got level alerts, so once that goes so far down, it will beep the panel just to say it's time to refill, or when the waste is full, it's time to empty the waste. And you've got frost alerts, so when the control panel notices that it's dropped in temperature outside, it will give you a frost alert, which means that you either need to empty the water or you need to put your tank heaters on so that the water doesn't freeze. And then the last two buttons, you've got empty the fresh, confirm you want to empty it, empty the waste, confirm you want to empty that. And they are just 12 volt electric dumps on the waste and the fresh. You've got heating, which is through this panel here, but you can operate it through here, so you can adjust your temperature on here. And you can choose the energy, so you've got gas and electric. Gas and electric on 2 kilowatts, so the 2 just means 1500 watts of electric, and gas, which is equivalent to 2 kilowatts and gas. And then you've got electric on 750 watts, 1 kilowatt, and electric on 1500 watts, 2 kilowatts. You can turn your water on and off, eco, hot or boost. So eco is 40 degrees and hot is 60 degrees of heating your water through there. But I'll show you how to do it through here, because you'll probably never use this way. You'll probably use it this way. You've got your radio, so you can turn your radio on from here. Once you've turned the radio on by itself, you can then operate it from the panel. And then you've got the fridge. So you've got your temperature of the fridge, 5 being the coldest. And you've got the mode of the fridge. So you've got off if you want the fridge off. You've got auto, which means it'll skip between these 3 sources here. So gas, 12 volt, 230 volt. So whatever it's got to offer, automatic on the auto will switch between it. So if you hooked up and you've got your gas open, it'll go to hook up because it knows not to waste your gas. If you start the engine, it'll go to 12 volt, and all that does is changes the fridge into a cool box to keep the temperature the same. So you've got to pre-chill it beforehand at home, or if you've been to one site and you're ready to travel to another, if it's on auto and you've turned the engine on, it'll automatically go to 12 volt and keep your shopping nice and fresh until you arrive at your next site. Or if you stop the engine, it'll go to gas. But please note, when the engine's switched off, it waits 20 minutes before lighting on gas, so you might just have to manually come in and just press gas. And you'd use gas if you were wild camping and had no other energy source available. But just leave it on auto, it'll do its own thing. But make sure that you turn it off, and then when you are finished with the fridge, just leave the door open to stop any mold and bacteria from forming in the fridge when not using the vehicle after you've cleaned it out. To operate your Truma CP control panel, so you press and hold, press and hold to turn on and off the panel. If you press, you can get into the menu, and you'll notice in the top left hand corner you've got a motorhome with a thermometer. I know on the picture it looks like it's flickering, it's not, it's just this camera. So you can adjust the temperature of the vehicle from off all the way to 30 degrees, and that's the heat inside the motorhome. And then moving on, you've got your water, so make sure that your boiler's closed and you do have water on board. You can turn it from off to eco, which is 40 degrees of heat in that 10 litre water container in your boiler. Hot, 60 degrees, and boost, which will turn off the heating and prioritise the water first. So we'll just say hot, 60 degrees of heating your water. And then you've got your energy source, so whether it's gas if you're wild camping and you had no other means of heating the vehicle or the water. Mixture 1, which is 750 watts of electric and gas together. Mixture 2, which is 1500 watts of electric and gas together. So you'd use mix 2 in the winter when you're in desperate need of heating the water or heating the vehicle, so that you're not sitting in a cold vehicle. And you'd use that for the first 10-15 minutes, and then you want to turn it off mixture 2 because you wouldn't want to waste your gas any longer. And you can put it onto electric. So you've got EL1, which is 750 watts of electric, and EL2, which is 1500 watts of electric. So normally on most sites you just use EL2, depending on what the amperage the site gives you. Press enter to save that, as you don't want to waste your gas. If you've paid for your site fees, use their electric. In the top right you've got the fan speed, so you've got eco, high or boost. So eco takes a smaller 12 volt feed and is a lot quieter on an evening if you're trying to sleep. High obviously uses a little bit more fan speed, so it's a little bit more louder, but it'll get the circulation of the heat around the van a lot quicker. And then boost is just flat out on the fan speed, the max it can be at, and it'll boost the heat around the vehicle. So for this we'll just say high, and then you do have a timer, so you can time it to come on and off. When the clocks go back and forth, you can adjust the time. And then should you get a warning triangle in the middle, you can go to the spanner setting in the bottom, which is your settings. Go to reset, press preset, and it will reset this control panel. And then you'll also notice that you've got your electric bed drop down switch here, so make sure that the key's turned on, and then you can bring the bed up and down, but make sure the seatbelt is disconnected before you do press the switch, otherwise the switch won't work, because this is a safety cutout. And then before you travel, clip it back in so that the bed has a second catch on the seatbelt for safety. So in the kitchen you do have 3 burner hob. So using the ignition on the front here, you'll be able to press, making sure that the gas bottle's turned on, and you can pull the gas through and use your 3 burner hob. Again, making sure that you allow them to cool so that they're cool enough to place your hand upon, and then you know you can pull the glass lid down. Otherwise it may be too hot for the glass lid and it could shatter, so just do take that in mind when using the hob. And then below you do have your grill, and under the grill you've got the oven. You may just want to take the oven shelf and grill pan out when travelling, as it can cause a bit of rattling when on the road, or you can wrap them up. It's entirely up to yourself. Underneath you've got a large storage drawer, and then you do have a little bit of storage here. That is your wheel arch. So there's cutlery drawer. You will just need a tray to go in there. Chopping board and draining board, which goes over your sink. And then 2 gas isolation taps. So you've got a green one, which is the fridge, and you've got a blue one, which is, or should I say, the blue one is your fridge and the green one is your hob, oven and grill combination. There is your cutlery drawer, sorry, so that one's just a slide out drawer for other bits and pieces. Push the catches in on your overhead lockers and you'll be able to open them, and you've got plates, cups and your solar panel regulator there flashing to say that your battery is charging. Your microwave is a mains household microwave, so it works on 230 volt only, so you've got to be hooked up for this to work, and it is an 800 watt microwave. And then you'll be able to press the buttons, choose your time, and it goes up in 1 minute increments on this button here, and then you can stop and cancel it at the bottom. So to operate your Dometic fridge freezer, so you've got an on-off button here. So it's a flush panel, so you've just got to press and hold. And then this button here does your mode, so it goes between 12 volt when the engine's running, gas if you're wild camping, or hook up when you're hooked up, which is mains 230 volt, which is this button here. And then the button below does your temperature, so you want to have it on 5 when pre-chilling, and then once you've got your shop in, you may just need to turn it down 1 or 2 just to stop it from freezing. But what you can do is you can move it all the way along to auto, and what auto does is it chooses the best source available at any one time. So now it's going to hook up as the hookup light lit up. It'll go over to gas when I take the hookup out, and then when you start the engine it'll go over to battery. But remember, if you've left your gas on, it waits 20 minutes before lighting on gas, because if it's been on 12 volt when you're travelling and then you come to stop and your gas is open, it'll light on gas. But this knows to wait 20 minutes, so when you pull up wild camping and you think, why is it not lighting on gas, just change the source manually by using the top button. And then finally, remember to leave the door open when you're not using the van so it doesn't trap the air in the fridge. And what you can do is you can press this little toggle here on the light, 2 pins come out, and it stops the door from shutting on itself, which allows the air to flow in and out of the fridge. And then you do have your separate freezer box on the top, and then when you're not using it, you would just turn it off by pressing and holding this button here. So at the back you do have a French bed on this model. So if you lift it up, so what you need to do is just pop your hand underneath the mattress, grab a hold of the frame and lift it up. And in here you do have some storage which you can access from outside the motorhome, as well as your boiler. So your boiler is doing 2 jobs. It heats the motorhome because it runs the space heater, and it heats the water as it runs the water heater. So when you're not using the motorhome, especially in the winter, so any time from the end of October to the end of March is when we are experiencing our colder temperatures. Obviously if it goes further than that, then keep your vans winterized. But to winterize the boiler, because it holds 10 litres of water, you need to allow the water out. And to do that, there's a little yellow valve here. As you can see, it's lying down in this position. What you need to do is you need to stand this up, so flick it up like so, and it'll drain all the water that's in the boiler directly out underneath the chassis. Leave it in this position when you're not using the van, when it's parked in the storage yard or on the drive, and then when you are ready to use the motorhome, just flick it back down. What you'd also do is, when this is drained off, you'd open the fresh and the waste outside the motorhome. You'd open all the taps within the motorhome just to stop any air from being blocked in any pipes and any water from sitting in there for airlocks. Then when you come to reuse it, obviously you'd shut the fresh and the waste outside, you'd shut your boiler, you'd shut all your taps inside. You'd then go and fill the motorhome with water. Once you filled it with water, you'd come in, you'd put the 12-volt control panel on, you'd put your pump on, and you'd go to your cold side of your tap first. You'll get a pressurised flow of cold water straight away because it's not filling the boiler. When you go to the hot side, it starts filling the boiler, which is where you're going to get the coughing, the spluttering from the tap. Once you get a free flow of water from the hot side of the tap, this is when you know that your system is then primed. Do one tap first, say the kitchen tap, then just continue to do the washroom hand basin tap and the shower tap. Once you've done one, the others shouldn't take long at all, and then this is your system primed for the season. But remember, drain it off because it isn't covered under warranty, and it's quite expensive if you don't drain them off, and they do suffer from soft frost damage in the winter. In your wardrobe, you've got your hanging rail, but you've also got your TV aerial. So this is a Status 570 TV aerial with a Vision Plus TV booster. So the booster on the back, you can use the little dial here to control the booster. So if it's too strong, you may need to drop it down, or if it's too weak, you may need to pull the booster up so that you get the perfect picture on your TV. If you're still struggling with that, what you can then do is adjust the aerial. So you'd loosen the nut off, push the stem up, and use the toggle on the bottom of the aerial to direct the aerial to find the best signal where you are. But look where your other motorhomes and caravans are pointing. Point yours in a similar direction and you should be fine. But remember, before you do travel off, pull the stem in and lock the nut off, as you wouldn't want the wind to damage your TV aerial. So in your washroom, you've got your shower curtain there, which comes across to stop the toilet from getting wet, and the hand basin. But you've got your bathroom lights here. This is just showing that your water system's working. And this is on the hot side, and that is picking up the temperature there. Press the catch in, and you've got 2 shelves in the toiletry cabinet, followed by the shower head. So remove that as well when you're winterizing, so just unscrew it from this pipe, put the pipe down in the shower tray and leave the mixer tap open on the shower, hand basin, kitchen tap, as well as the boiler and the other bits that I've explained. To operate the toilet, so ensure you've got your pump on to get your fresh water flush. Press the blue button here. So this is the blue button. So press and hold it and it'll give you a flush. And when your cassette's full, you'll get an LED light underneath here, or a few of them, depending on what light's been fitted to this one, which tells you that your cassette is full. So press the blue button. So you always want to put a little bit of water in the toilet before you use it, because there's a blade here and a seal, and you don't want the seal to get brittle. So put some water in it and then don't use it before you open the blade. So slide it to the right. You can now see that water's disappeared, everything's gone into the cassette. Once you've finished using it, obviously give it a good flush. If you've bought the blue and the pink Aqua Chem in a twin pack, dilute some of the pink in an empty spray bottle, spray the bowl, give a nice fragrant smell, it'll clean the bowl, give it a good flush. And then you want to close this lever, which is known as the blade, back to the left, so towards you. That'll ensure that when this light comes on, the cassette is able, you can go outside, you can lift the handle and pull the cassette straight out. Should the blade be open, the cassette won't come out the side of the motorhome because the mechanism is engaged. So get into a routine of doing it that way, and then you'll never have to scoot back into the motorhome to close the blade. Plus it'll help with smells. Another cabinet, hanger rail for towels, toilet roll holder, frosted window, pressing these catches in to open the window and then locking it out with the stay. Fly screen and a blackout blind for on an evening. Pull the catch and depart it too, and that's the same on all windows within this motorhome. To lock your habitation door, you've just got to push this chrome catch bit in, and that's locked the door manually from the inside. And then as soon as you go for the handle, it will open. And you do have a blackout blind on the window, along with when the doors open, this is a fly screen, so that pulls across to keep the flies out when you're touring in Scotland. To make the lounge into a front bed, so first of all we're going to show you how the cushions go. So you've got the backrest off here, falls down into the back, and the base cushion slides forward. This is the base cushion of the seat. That is the backrest of here. This is an infill cushion which is found in the wardrobe or underneath the bed. That goes in the centre of the two cushions, and then you've got a small double bed across the width of the motorhome. So all you need to do is get a fitted sheet, some duvets, and that'll keep all your cushions nice and tightly compact, and it'll give us better sleeping surface. What you can do as well is you can turn them upside down, and it'll give you a flatter surface to sleep on instead of the roundness of the bull nose and the lines of the stitching for the cushions. This is how the side seat turns into a bed. So lift and slide, and that'll meet this seat here. So that just slides in and out to create your bed. And then you do have your table. So your table folds over, and you would pull this extension out. So you'd use that extension if you were dining and making the bed. And then underneath you've got a lever which pops the table up. You've also got this one here which locks the table into position, which is the slide, so the table won't slide. So you'd normally have that locked in when you're travelling, or it'll be able to pull over, slide out to when you're dining in the motorhome or making the bed, and then you would just push it in, lift this cushion up and push it down, and it'll fill this space in when forming the front bed makeup. So if you take all the cushions off your side seat when you come into the van, underneath here is where your power supply unit lives, which is an EC600 unit from Sargent. So at the back here you've got a system shutdown button which will stop any power drain when parking the vehicle up. but it will turn off your solar panel from charging. So you've got to have that on to charge your vehicle. But if you are standing up in a storage yard where you haven't got any power, you may want to turn that off just to stop the leisure battery from draining. But over the winter, it's very important that you look after your leisure battery. So either bring it home and charge it by taking the battery off the vehicle, or bring the vehicle home every so often and leave it for a few days on hookup. Here you do have your fuses, which are all listed here, what fuses does what. So there's the ratings, that tells you what they do. So do carry some spare blade fuses. And here you do have your main trip tester. So if you were struggling and you didn't think the motorhome was receiving power, trip the van out. And you've got your 3 MCBs, which tells you there what they do. You can lift these up and down, but just leave them down. And then as soon as you hook up, the charger will charge your leisure battery, and the heating and hot water will work on mains power. You will have to set that away. And it works on gas as well, so should you not be on power, it does work on gas. But that needs to be on to send the power to the Truma control panel. That's your battery charger, that's your pump, that's your filter, and you've got some storage under there as well. As you can see, this is your rear view camera, which is on permanently when in neutral or any forward facing gear. So I'm in neutral there, I'm in first gear, and it's still on. Lift the collar into reverse, and it comes on again. Along with this one has been fitted with parking sensors at some point, so it's got parking sensors on, so you'll hear your beepers beeping in the background when reversing.